Get into the holiday spirit by making your own Santa hat. Choose your own fabric to make a traditional hat, or think outside the box and make one that's truly unique. Let's go ahead and get started. For supplies, you'll need a half yard of fabric. You can use any number of fabrics such as velour, minky, fleece, or faux fur. Just realize that the more stability the fabric has, the more shape the hat will have. Faux fur offers a traditional look and has the most stability, but is harder to work with. You'll also need 1 yard of 4-inch white trim, a 2-inch pom-pom, and all-purpose thread. For tools, I'll be using a sewing machine, pins and needles, sewing gauge, and scissors. You'll also want to download our free pattern available on our website, place it on the fold of your fabric, and cut out one piece. From your trim, cut a length of 25.5 inches. If you can't find any trim, then buy some faux fur and cut a strip that's 25.5 by 4 inches. Bring the shorter raw edges of the hat right sides together and pin. Sew the pinned side at your sewing machine using a 1/4 inch seam allowance. Bring the short raw edges of the fur trim right sides together, pin and sew a 1/4 inch seam allowance. Match one long edge of the trim to the bottom of the hat. The right side of the trim goes to the wrong side of the fabric. Put the seams together, pin and sew a 1/4 inch seam allowance. Next, sew an understitch by stitching next to the seam line on the hat side, attaching all the seam allowances to the hat fabric. The seam allowances are currently under the red fabric, and I'm using a walking foot to help stitch through them. This will help turn the trim more cleanly. Flip the hat right side out and fold the trim so the right side is showing. Take the top raw edge of the trim and start folding it under until you have your desired trim width. I like mine about 2.5 inches. About every 2 inches, I'll do a tacking stitch just to hold the top of the trim into place, and I'll be using a hand needle and thread. You can see my thread is a contrasting color, so it's easier for you to see. So this is the top of the trim. I'm going to grab a little bit of the trim, and make sure that you're actually grabbing the backing of the trim, so the actual fabric, and not just grabbing the little fibers that are coming out. Otherwise your thread will just go right through it. So I just grabbed the top of the trim, not my actual hat, but now I'm just going to grab a little bit of the hat in that same section. It doesn't have to be a very large stitch, and sometimes your little fibers will get caught in that, but that's okay. And you'll just pull it tight, and then I'll just go back and grab a little bit of the trim again in that same section, and then a little bit of the hat again. I always do a couple of stitches just to make sure that it's going to be secured. Once I have a couple of stitches, you can go ahead and tie a knot, make it a small knot so it won't be that visible, and then move on to the next section, which I'll move on to this section right here, about 2 inches from there. Lastly, we just need to add the pom-pom to the end of the hat. I'm going to sew mine on by hand using the same tacking method as before. If you don't want to do this, you can also use fabric glue to attach your pom-pom. And we're done! This is a super easy project and just goes to show you that with our trusty sewing machine, anyone can be Santa. We hope you enjoyed this tutorial. Please subscribe to get notified of our weekly releases. Also check out ProfessorPincushion.com to view our complete library with well over 350 sewing tutorials. If you would like to directly support us, you can check out our Patreon campaign and earn some exclusive perks. Thanks for watching!